Arena of Lost Souls, the very first booster pack for Yu-Gi-Oh! Speed Duels, released yesterday at the time of me recording this video, and it's a pretty awesome set. Today we're going to be talking about the cover card Arcana Knight. This card is awesome. We're going to go through the strategy that I've been using with this card, and personally I think that this card has the potential to be pretty meta-defining. Obviously, when I talk about this deck, it's very, very early days in the meta, in the new meta, and I think that we're going to end up seeing quite a bit of variety in the way that this deck is played, because there's so many directions that you can take it. Personally, I think the direction I'm taking here is the best, but I think the ratios are probably not perfect. I'm going to see myself changing those ratios a lot over time, so keep that in mind. The overall general strategy is definitely set in, though. I think this is the one to go with. So first of all, we're going to go over the skill card, which is Palomization. This card is awesome. For people who don't know the effect of the card, it's okay, I forgive you. The effect of the card is basically allows you to use any card as a fusion material, or any monster card, sorry, as a fusion material. So if you're one night short of being able to summon your Arcana Knight, which we're going to go over in just a second, you can cheat him out with Palomization. Speaking of the Arcana Knights, I'm running 3 Arcana Knights. Obviously, you don't need to run 3 because it's going to be very rare that you want to play 3. Generally, I think you can get away with 2, but honestly, you might just be able to get away with 1. But I would hope that you would get 2 for the deck at the very least. Now we can go over the core of the deck. This is where it gets exciting, okay? We got 3 Blue Dragon Summoners. These are awesome. I actually forgot that these search for warriors. I thought that they only searched for spellcasters and dragons, but they do search for warriors as well, which means they can be useful in this deck. And of course, because we're running Blue Dragon Summoners, we're running 3 1-to-1s. Just in case you're not familiar with the combo, Blue Dragon Summoner, when he dies, allows you to search for a normal warrior, spellcaster, or dragon monster. Then 1-to-1 is a plus 500 equip spell. You can choose to sacrifice the wand whenever you want, and when you do that, you draw 2 cards. So this is a 2-card combo for 3 cards, which ends up giving you plus 1 cards. So you're getting pretty deep into your deck with this 2-card combo, which is really nice, especially for our general strategy, which we'll get into in just a second. So we're running that engine. So that's 6 cards of our deck already, meaning we have 14 more cards to go. We're running the Knight Core, which is 3 queens, 3 jacks, and we're actually only running 2 kings. Now, I haven't tried the deck with 3 kings because I only pulled 2, but I'm pretty sure 2 would be optimal anyway, because it's an effect monster, which means you can't search it out with a previously mentioned Blue Dragon Summoner. You might argue that's a reason to run 3 of them. Personally, I don't think so because of Palomization. We don't really care too much about searching out specifically the king. I mean, it's nice if we draw the king and we don't have to use Palomization, but in all honesty, I could even see a version of this deck that doesn't even run the king, let alone running 2 of it. But I think we're definitely running the 2 kings for now, because it is nice when you can pull off the effect without Palomization. So we're running the Knight Core, Blue Dragon Summoners, and 1-to-1s. That's 14 cards already in our deck, meaning that we have 6 cards left. And we're going to start off with 3 polymerizations, and a fusion gate. So that's 4 fusion effects in the deck. You can pretty consistently hit these. There are going to be some times where you don't draw them, and it's really going to suck. Like, you're going to lose the game because you don't draw these. I've even run 5 fusion effects, which is the double fusion gate. I think this might even be the correct way to do it. It is a bit more risky because you're going to draw more dead hands, but I think, again, it might just be optimal because not being able to trigger the fusion effect is literally game losing. You're relying on winning the game off of Arcana Knight because the rest of the Knight engine is just not good. That might be something you want to keep in mind. Then we're running 2 Windstorm of Edequas. Of course, Windstorm of Edequas is a really good card in this format. It slows down the opponent. If there becomes a future way to slow down the opponent that's even better, we would run that. So just to give you an example of what the deck looks like, let's say this is our opening hand, right? We got 2 king, we got a king and a jack, we got a 1-to-1 and a polymerization. This on face value doesn't look like a particularly good hand, right? But just keep that hand in mind. Now, we're pretty close to an Arcana Knight right there, right? We just need a queen or any monster. So let's have a look at how much of the deck is a dead draw. That's a plus draw because it allows us to get Arcana Knight plus search for another knight. Good draw, good draw, good draw, good draw, because it goes to Arcana Knight. Goes to Arcana Knight, goes to Arcana Knight, goes to Arcana Knight, goes to Arcana Knight. This stalls the game, So it's not necessarily a dead draw. It's also not a particularly good draw. So we're just going to leave that there. Dead draw, dead draw, dead draw, dead draw, neutral draw, and dead draws. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cards in the deck that would be a dead draw. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 cards in the deck would be an Arcana Knight, and 2 cards would stall the game. That's pretty good. And of course, you know, Blue Dragon Summoner has the benefit of, instead of actually doing the polymerization, what you would do is you would do Blue Dragon Summoner, then you would do 1-1. You would sacrifice those 2. You would draw 2 cards. Let's just say, I don't know, let's be generous and say it would be 2 dead draws. It would be polymerization and a 1-1. You then search out a Queen's Knight, and then you can do polymerization. You get a free Arcana Knight, and that's not even using the polymerization effect. Really, I think this deck is pretty amazing. Once you've got Arcana Knight on the field, it's pretty hard for the opponent to do anything. It's hard for them to go over the top of it for sure. It's also difficult for them to remove it with any particular spell because, of course, of its effect. Now, its defense is low, so it's easy for people to Windstorm of Edequa and go over the top of it. I say easy, it's not really. If they've got a Blue Eyes White Dragon out in the field, Windstorm of Edequa puts it in defense mode. Blue Eyes White Dragon can now go over Arcana Knight. But in all honesty, that's a pretty niche scenario. But just keep in mind, you can't actually counter the effect of Windstorm of Edequa because Windstorm of Edequa doesn't target anything. I'm pretty happy with this deck. I would be curious to get feedback on this deck. What do you think about it? Again, I think the Arcana Knights are pretty awesome. And I think the engine we have set up in this deck is also pretty damn good. I want to thank you so much for watching this video. If you're new around here, subscribe to Duelology. We would very much appreciate it. I'll have some duels with this deck coming up pretty soon on the channel. If that's what you want to see, let me know in the comment section below. And yeah, I'm really looking for feedback on this deck because I really like the overall strategy. It's just trying to kill the opponent really quickly, and it's a bit of a solitaire deck. I like my solitaire decks.